Hey, welcome to Texas!
He's a 10.
I choose this family.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 176 of 911 Lone Star Roundup. I'm one of your hosts, Grace, and with me are my lovely co-hosts, Katie and EJ.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Today, we'll be talking about 911 Nashville Season 1, episodes 15 and 16, titled Bad Girls and Love to Death. And of course, there's so much to talk about, especially talking about 2 episodes, so we are going to go straight into things. So, we get probably my least favorite part of both these episodes. I will be so real with you guys. This opener was so strange.
It was such a weird opener.
Yeah. Like, I immediately knew it was Cars, but also I hate it.
Yeah, same.
I hate it. So, Blythe and Dawn are looking at Cars for Blue, and they're basically just, like, making innuendos, and that was the bit, especially, that I couldn't deal with. But then Blue comes in to tell them that food is ready, and he sees them, and is like, oh, you're planning my party. And then Dawn and Blythe tell him that they would love to throw his party, but Dixie isn't invited anymore, and that she is no longer welcome in their home. She was welcome for 0.2 seconds anyway. Definitely not welcoming. And Blue asks why, and they tell him that things came to light after the gala that changes everything. And Blue thinks they're talking about her fake coughing up blood to get the surgery, and they're like, no, we did not know that. And then Blythe says that that's not what this is about, and Dawn says they can add it to the list, though. I feel like they need to drop, like, one of those kitchen grocery lists, just put it on the fridge with a magnet.
Of all the different things that, yeah.
Just in case someone tries to be like, actually, it wasn't that bad.
Right.
Pull out receipt. Then Blue asks what it was about, and Dawn says that Blue should hear it from his mom, which
Fair enough.
respect that. You know, that's true. It does unfortunately have the added side effect of Dixie will try and manipulate her way out that.
Yeah, I think that's very respectful, because there's a very easy way. He could have just thrown her under the bus, told him everything, and like whatever, but it's better that it is the other way, even though we all know how messy it is.
Yeah. And this way, like, it doesn't leave room for, like, are they lying? It doesn't really leave time for Blue to, like, talk himself out of believing it, or, like, you know, because he is very defensive of his mother, even acknowledging her faults. So, yeah. Then we get this, like, mold scene. So it's this influencer that goes by Elena, and like immediately it's not a good idea. Just everything about this. These influencers are collabing, and they're trying to put together like a face mold that they're going to sell, kind of thing. But the one is so distracted by like the live that they're doing this on that she doesn't pay attention to the directions that Elena gives her, and so she gets stuck in hers. And it doesn't have air holes, so yeah, that's not a good idea at all.
I'm like, maybe let's not leave this to like influencers to do. Like, let's have a professional be doing this, because like they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, because most normal people would use straws in their nostrils to avoid that from happening, but
yeah. Also, I feel like just generally you should not do that both at the same time.
No, that's true too.
Just because a lot of things could. All that being said, though, I do love that we got the live stream bit. I agree with the note in here with the maggots in 901, and what was the one in Lone Star?
So from what I was trying to remember it too, from what I remember, I believe the Lone Star one was like a yoga instructor or something trying to show a move, and then she ended up falling off the balcony, or she was hanging or something like that.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, because Carlos and Owen were that was like kind of a scene they did together. I remember
something like that.
I at least remember them looking at the live or something afterwards.
Right.
Love that. You're right. And we actually did have another of sorts earlier in Nashville, which was the like spicy content creator who was eating chicken wings.
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
And
she was
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, although like this, I don't know, I feel like these are more comparisons. Like I get that was still like the same idea, but I feel like they kind of structured that a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, and we also had all the times that in Lone Star where Marjan would like live stream things or
True.
with, Firefox stuff. So there's a lot of like social media involved in these series, which is cool.
Yeah. No, I like that they incorporate it. And definitely show some of the ridiculousness of what happens. So they have to drill holes, and she freaks out partway through. One nostril, or the second nostril, getting open, and then it cuts it. So there's blood everywhere because they're using a drill, and they have to peel it back, and then they have to separate from the eyebrows, and it's obviously painful. And anyway, I was kind of expecting her whole face to come off with it somehow, so I'm kind of glad that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, she's gonna lose like all her skin on her face, because that's kind of what I expect. Oh, that's, or she's gonna have like some major reaction or something. She actually like is kind of fine. It's no eyebrows and some blood on the face. And so Elena is kind of little touchy with Roxy, like a good hug, that back rub kind of thing. And I spotted that. I'm like, ladies, ooh,
I'm here for it.
Right? Yeah.
I love Taylor's face in this whole interaction. Like, just be like,
Taylor's
just what's going
She's
on.
like, yeah, no, it was that very like long, appreciative hug,
Right.
I love it. I'm like, ooh. And then she's like, oh, how can I repay you? And Ryan says, oh, you can take a selfie for my wife since she's a Phaon. And Elena's like, I can do better. So Ryan shows up to the hospital with an exclusive makeup kit for Sam from Elena, which is so cool. But when Ryan gets there, he just finds out that Sam isn't there. And Ryan's confused because she said that her shift started at 7, but her coworker goes in system and finds that like her shift doesn't start till noon, which is a big 5-hour discrepancy. And he calls her and gets voicemail, and then finds that her location is turned off. It's like, oh, that's weird. I will say I called part of it from the very get-go.
I can't really comment on that just because I did hear about the whole storyline and where it went. So I knew about a lot of what happened before, so I didn't get that surprise feel.
I think I suspected it, but I didn't like grab onto it because I'm like, you guys just got them like on a good footing last episode. Now what are you throwing at them? And then I was like, you guys are trying to like drum up drama, and it's not going to be the same thing we're going to think it's going to be. So
yeah, I do have thoughts on it when we actually get to what it is.
Yeah, I have like very feelings on it. But I called part of it from like literally the very second they said she wasn't there. And I kind of think it's really funny because for someone who does not care about and definitely hears about spoilers, I hear about spoilers about 911 because that's when I follow online. I don't pay attention to anything Nashville related, so I don't get spoilers because I literally don't pay attention. I was like, oh, I like called that. Anyway, it's definitely lining up to be weird, but obviously the angle that they were playing that Ryan's thinking could tell that's obviously not what they're going with. Moving on. So we're at the firehouse, and Taylor is kind of teasing Roxy, being like, oh, Elena's into Roxy, and Roxy's thinking she's being ridiculous, and Taylor is like, no, she was acting like you're the whole meal. And Taylor's going on and on about it, and Roxy's like, I could check you for head injury.
I love the line. It was so
and Taylor says to DM Elena, and Roxy says she wouldn't see it because she has 8 million followers. And then Roxy gets a DM from Elena, and Taylor says she's blushing, and Roxy's like, I'm not. It was really cute, actually. And then Roxy is not telling them what she said, and they're going, bye. Just leaves. Taylor's running after her like, no, come back. What'd she say? Lou this entire time is in the kitchen just trying to get them to answer whether they want Colby or Pepper Jack or whatever he's thinking. I am just like, I have no thoughts and your head is empty. And that's actually okay because you're kind of reckless about it.
It's like
he is the golden retriever boyfriend.
Yes, he is. And it's kind of just like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm just gonna like totally stay out of it kind of thing.
Yeah. He doesn't really care about anything else going on other than his cooking and his relationship with his girlfriend.
Well, yeah, and I think it's kind of too, he's always kind of been so focused on his mom's career and living with her and stuff that he's not used to being around a lot of other women in the world that's not his mom.
True.
And
True.
so I think he's just like, huh? So he's kind of sheltered in that way.
That's very true. So Ryan surprises Sam at home with the makeup kit, and she's super excited about that. And he tells her that he thought of surprising her at work, but thought she would be busy. And you kind of see her like minusculate pause, and then she's like, I'm in the shower, like I'm tired. And there are messages that are coming in to her phone. And you can see Ryan, he's like struggling with the urge, but he does go over to look, and he tries to check her phone, but she's changed the password. And yeah, that's not a great look. She's kind of acting weird. So you see the theories forming in his head. And Lou confronts Dixie in this upcoming scene. And he basically is like, he found out that she lied about something, and she eventually tells him that she got pregnant with him on purpose. And she's trying to play it off, being like, it's not like I poked holes in the rubbers because he didn't want to wear one. But you would have.
Yeah,
you lied about being on birth
chance.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was actually something along the lines of her being like, "Oh, you don't need to wear them. I'm on the pill."
Yeah,
kind of thing.
in like any normal circumstance, I would be like, okay, it shouldn't be all on the woman. But in this case,
I
I'm
agree.
just like, because it's just like some men are just like, oh, well, I don't want to wear one. Well, why do women have to always be the one to be on birth control and all these things? And then men just like, it's whatever. It's like, but like in her case, I'm just like, it's so manipulative.
Yeah,
I'm not even
usually
buying anything.
exactly. Like I'm in the same boat because yes, it should never be all on the woman. And also like, yeah, you might not like the feeling of a condom, but hey, we're the ones that have to deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
It's our bodies. It's our uterus, no matter what we have, no matter what happens, what we do with it, it's our body. And so that's why I'm like, yes, you still should have worn a fucking condom. Because also, like, not even getting into like STIs and like what you could have brought back to your wife, like when you did rejoin. Like, I know they were separated, but still, it's like it's just safe sex, and they didn't actually really talk about like the mean clean. But yeah, in this case, it's on Dixie. I wouldn't put it past her. And then she's like testing him on being like, trying to claim that like Don and Blythe are being manipulative by not like letting her in and making him choose. Like, oh goodness, the way this woman's brain works exhausts me. Maybe that's a good sign that I'm not as manipulative.
Yeah, it's like. And she's like manipulating him because she's like, oh, well, we could do something for your birthday, but you can't just do something with me for your birthday and do something with them for your birthday. It's like,
yeah,
even Blue, yeah, like he's a grown ass adult. I don't know how old he exactly is, but I'd say early 20s. And it's like, okay, so he spent many birthdays with you. I think it's like if he wants to spend his birthday with his dad and that side of the family, he is well in reason to do so. Right. It's well reasonable. Yeah. Like
even as he says, like children with two households, like of separated parents, have two birthdays and two holidays all the time. Like this is not unusual. Yeah. Like I am 24 years old. I'm pretty sure I am older than Blue. And I have multiple holidays between spending them with my sisters that live in another country or a couple hours away, and between my dad and his family, and between my mom and my sister who I live with. Like I'm pretty sure older than Blue, and I have those. Like he is not even trying to choose between them. He's just trying to be the adult in the situation. It's wild. But then we have Ryan coming to Blythe for advice. And I do just want to say that I am impressed that Ryan didn't he's not taking anything out on Sam. Like he's not jumping to, he's not accusing her straight out of things. He's not like losing his shit. He's not like, he is coming to his mom for advice. And I'm like, actually, I know that's a bare minimum, but I feel like for drama, they could have taken it so many other ways. Right. I'm really glad they didn't.
Yeah, well, and I think too, they were already kind of hinting at different things, like trying to get you to think of other things too. So adding in his freak out might not have played well with any other story outcomes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And also, like, we'll say that so far they have not characterized him to be a super, like, off his rocker, like, spontaneous kind of person. Like, he does seem like the sort that would just kind of sit with something for a bit. So I don't know. I just like that they didn't take some, like, low-hanging fruit for drama purposes. So he's basically talking about how Sam is hiding something from him and she changed her passcode and she has not done that since they got engaged. And he hasn't asked her, and he knows that it will change things one way or another. And it's like, yeah, just talk to her. And that's basically what Blythe is saying. Just talk to her.
You know, literally miscommunications in books, shows, whatever it is. It drives me nuts. Like, no, it doesn't, like, it's not like a deal breaker for me, but I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, can you people just talk to each other?
Right?
God damn.
And it's like miscommunication definitely happens in real life all the time.
Right.
In all relationships, familial, platonic, romantic, all of those things. And yeah, they definitely take these steps of sometimes you talk it out with other people first, or you go to other people for advice first. So this is definitely not the worst miscommunication trope I've seen by far. But it is definitely one of those where it's like you literally don't have another option except you either like fucking follow her, which would be crazy and unneeded, or you talk to her.
Yeah.
And so Blythe tells him to face it head on. And then we get Blue telling Taylor about the family drama, and he thinks, I do like Blue, but he is so gullible.
Yeah, I feel like he just sort of lived like a sheltered life, meaning like just between him and Dixie, like living with just his mom, not having his other family or even getting to know them. I feel like he just was sheltered in that sense.
Yeah. I think it doesn't help that Dixie definitely like encouraged like full reliance on her to some degree. Like he's struggling with that independence. And that's definitely a real thing.
Well, and she does even bring that up even later about I gave you the shots and insulin and all that stuff. And I'm like, that doesn't justify. But he's been so, I don't want to say mama's boy, because I feel like he's enough of an adult to realize like he can rely on other people. But she's definitely created an environment that makes him only believe in her and no one else in some ways.
I've called from the beginning of the show, I've said since the beginning of the show that there was a weird vibe of emotional incest going on here.
Yeah.
Like, I still stick with it, no matter what has happened so far. I stick with, there's weird. Anyway, continuing. But he thinks that Don and Blythe are manipulating him based on what Dixie said. And Taylor is telling him, his mom is the one that is, she's the one giving him an ultimatum. And Blue, is like, I wish you wouldn't talk about my mom like that, and then he runs off. I mean, she said whatever it's hard. It's hard. And then we get a fire call, and it's essentially there's this woman that they think she's home alone, like the parents saying, like the neighbors are like, oh no, she lives alone kind of thing. And then she's like saying how her son is trapped upstairs in this fire, and they find this man, this fully grown man, in the room, like a padlocked room. And he's been there since he was 11, kept drugged and locked up. And
since his dad died.
And like the cause of the fire was a fork in the outlet. And Don asked him if he set fire on purpose, and he said he didn't know how to escape. And yeah, you can see it's a tough call for Blue. They were very on the nose with calls this episode. This one, the whole push fall thing that we had earlier, they were very on the nose with calls on this. So I'm not mad about it, actually. I kind of like that they're related to those stories. It's very much
I didn't really care until I was like, oh, the connection, okay, this is important.
They were not playing around.
Right. Yeah. And I sometimes the universe often will, as in like the 911 universe, will have like the titles of the episode, and then like the sometimes only certain calls and scenes line up, but they did good on this one.
When we're back at like the firehouse, he's still thinking about the call, and he says that Dixie was kind of doing the same thing to him, just not locking him up, and she made all the decisions for Blue, and he let her. And he's like, I never stood up to her. He wants to do his birthday at Don and Blythe, and he's gonna do it whether his mother likes it or not. And Blue tells her, and he literally makes a nice meal for her, like her favorite meal, and has out like wine. Like I could go so much into what I think about this scene, and I might later. I'm not going to right now to just get through like the rest of this, but I have so many thoughts about this fucking scene. And she's still mad. He wants to spend it with his dad, and she guilt trips him and lashes out, and he tells her that he's going no matter what, and she kicks him out because that's what rational parents do.
Yeah, that really gets me because it's just like I've had it mentioned before. It's like, well, I could kick you out, but you wouldn't because then I'd be homeless and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, if I do this, oh, you could just like be homeless. It's just like, okay, that's great.
Right.
Yeah. As someone whose parent has threatened to kick her out before, yeah, it's not cool.
Mm-mm.
It's not cool. It is very damaging. It's fucked up. And then we move into Sam getting home, and Ryan's playing with the cat and the dog and waiting for her. And he's suspicious of her, and they go back and forth talking about it. And she tells him that when they were separated, and I will say, for some reason I had to stop her just on when they were separated. I swear to God, if they do a Dawn and Blythe here, and she like they go, none, I will throw this computer against the wall. And then I played it and it went elsewhere. But I was so afraid for a second they were doing something. I was so
I was
afraid.
like, no repeating like that. No.
When they were separated, she had a miscarriage, and she didn't want a baby to keep them together, so she didn't say anything when she found out she was pregnant, but then she lost it.
That was very smart on her part.
Yeah, because this has been brought up before, how she doesn't want a baby to solve their problem. And now
Very smart.
thinking back to that conversation when that happened, knowing that like her miscarriage had already happened and she already had to go through this thought process like secretly, I'm like, I just feel so bad for her.
Yeah.
And she was diagnosed with a heart-shaped uterus, and for her, the chance of a miscarriage is always going to be high. And she didn't tell him because she knew having kids was important to him. And Ryan's not mad, of course not. Like, he's upset, but he's upset for her like having gone through this alone. And they're hugging, and he wonders, what that has to do with her not being at work. And she says that she was at her OB's office, and she turned her location service off because she didn't want him to know, and she forgot to turn it back on. So after their trip, she felt tired, and peanut butter started to gross her out, and apparently she loves peanut butter. And she tells him that she's pregnant. And that actually, this scene, I really loved this scene. I will say, like, this hit in the feels. Definitely concerned though.
Yeah, I am too. I just normally I wouldn't have this sort of reservation, but knowing the show and knowing the things they brought up, I am worried of where this is gonna end up.
Yeah.
I'm worried that something bad's gonna happen. I hope nothing bad happens. And also, like, I also have reservations for them bringing up this type of storyline at this point when they're just kind of like, deciding not to actually divorce and they're working on their relationship. And if they're gonna, like, if this is going to be like successful, like, I just don't think this is the right time to bring this up.
Yeah. It's not. And I feel like we really need to be careful because you don't want it to just have this like repeat over and over again.
Yeah, like I feel like bringing up the whole miscarriage and the heart-shaped uterus, and then like having the pregnancy that they talk about right now be like successful and uneventful is probably not what they're going with. I feel like that would be an unusual thing for a drama series to do. So I don't know if this is going to be a thing of like we have a miscarriage on the show, or like there's drama surrounding the pregnancy to some degree, like concerns. I don't know where this is going. I definitely think it's too soon. I given it a lot more therapy in at least a year. But it is what it is. Definitely worried about where they're going to go. And so we end the episode with Blue showing up at Taylor's, and he's soaked. And he tells her that his mom kicked him out and he wants to stay with her tonight, and she lets him in. And that is where we end off on episode 15. Going straight into the next one, we start in the middle of Blue's birthday party, essentially, and they got him a car. And it's basically a blue version of the one he had before.
Yeah, I can't remember what color his last one was.
I think it was
red. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, this is a super snazzy looking car. Like, it looks nice. I'm not a car person, but it looks nice. It's just, I don't know, it's so precious seeing like how appreciative he is and like how much they're celebrating him. Like, they're going all out. This is a fancy catered dinner with the bar service, and like the money is showing here. And Roxy's phone is blowing up and everyone's intrigued, and she's she's going on a date that she will not admit is a date. And everyone's just teasing her about it. And Blue kind of tells Blythe and Dawn that his mom kicked him out, and he thinks it was, in the heat of the moment, and he thinks she'll come around, which, like,
I'm not sure on that one. I was just like, Blue. I'm not sure.
It's sad because this kind of reminds me of like a little boy waiting for his mom to come pick him up when he was forgotten at like school pickup or something. That's kind of what makes me think of. It's rough. And he's like really hurting because she hasn't called him and it's his birthday. And he calls her because they're like, oh, it goes both ways. Which I didn't love that necessarily because what do you mean phone goes both ways, but his mother is the one who kicked him out?
Yeah, I
it's not like they just had an argument. If it had been a case of they just had an argument and he like left of his own free will,
right?
Sure. He was kicked out though.
She made it very clear she wanted him out.
Yeah, I sometimes I would agree with phone goes both ways. This is not one of those cases. Okay, feels like shifting some of the responsibility of Dixie, but okay. But so she declines the call anyway. And then she's in the car crying about it. And it's like, I don't know. I don't like any of it.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm totally on his side. Okay, I will never be on Dixie's side. And if I ever say that I am, somebody come just like punch me because that is never going to happen. I'll
get in my car, drive to New York, and come pop you on that. Like, no.
Like, girl, get it together. Yeah, like I'm totally on his side. I've always been on his side, and I'm just like, I hate this.
Yeah, it's tough to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's tough for two reasons. Bad because partially because I feel really bad for Blue, and also tough because I hate watching her make herself the victim of all this.
Yeah,
like, girl, this is your own doing. Like, even if she had like yelled abuse at him like all night, he would have stayed. Like, yeah. Anyway, moving on.
I was just gonna say that I think it's weird that how they've made her dynamic, and she is definitely, and I agree with Katie. Like, if we ever start siding with her, like, let us know we're off our rocker. And like, there are times where I get glimpses of like, oh, you are a civil human being, and then she goes and pulls something like this, and then I'm like
the gala was the closest I thought. She could be a civil. I mean, that was her being drunk.
Well, that too. Yeah. Then she gets drunk, and then like, good luck with that. But I am glad that last episode, they did find out the truth about her purposely getting pregnant. Because I think we've kind of all tiptoed around it. This whole like, how many episodes are we into? So
yeah,
it's but still, I feel bad for Blue because he doesn't know a life without his mom. And then suddenly she's acting like she's the victim in this. I'm like, I'm sorry, but you know what? You had 18, 20 years with this kid. Give him 5 minutes with his dad.
And it's like, it's rough because, and this is like sort of some of what I wanted to say during like the dinner scene where he prepared for her. And it's just how, part of the reason I said something about like the whole emotional incest thing is because she treats him as such an extension of his dad to a degree where it kind of feels like she's, and I'm not trying to imply that I think anything untoward happened necessarily, but this happens more than I think people would care to admit, and that she's, she loves him, I think, in her own way, but she also loves him because he's a piece of Dawn that she was manipulative into getting. And he's been her connection to Dawn for those, 20 something years. But that's why it's like, he's not allowed to rebel. He's not allowed to be any of his own person because that's just like moving away from her. I don't know. She is a deeply insecure and messy person. And unfortunately, I don't know how she got such a sweet kid out of it.
Apparently it skipped a generation. Because the grandmother was pretty, seemed pretty nice.
Yeah, we got her for 2 seconds, but she's on her rocker, whatever was going on with all that. She was saying that she's petty, and what if he had an emergency? Would she know? Would she care? And Taylor says she would, and Taylor says, she can take care of it, and he doesn't want her to do that, but he does let her help because he's like, he isn't even able to go get his stuff. I'm like, okay, I see Taylor whipping like Dixie into shape because she is a sweet, she's a sweetheart, we have so far that we have seen, but I have no doubt that she could hold someone to task. She absolutely could. And I love that we are getting this side of her.
Yeah, I like the outside the firehouse type.
Yeah. So we get an interesting call, and the ex-husband calls saying that his wife is about to die, and he's giving like kind of suspicious, vague details, and I'm like, okay, this is definitely set up like this is suspicious, but it's also like too obvious it could be him. So like, which way are we going?
Right.
And what's nice, okay, so we get Jalen back, and he is Taylor's roommate. That they did that whole oh my gosh they're dating thing to make Blue anyway. Love seeing Jalen back. I've wanted to see him back since we saw him originally.
Oh yeah. Sure.
And so he's a police officer, so he arrives on scene, and he is at the wrong address because the ex-husband gave them the wrong address. And so then they have to go to the right house. It's so funny because like he's like, please open up, and they like he interrupts a Bible study. And it's like, oh, so sorry, continue. It was already open. And Jalen goes in and finds blood, and then finds Vera, who is the ex-wife, collapsed with blood on her. She was stabbed multiple times from her own like butch block knife. She's barely conscious, and she's trying to say something, and it's like a rough sound, but she can't really get out much more than that. She's not doing okay. And she dies, and the 17-year-old daughter comes down like just in time to see like all of this. And this poor girl. This
literally made my heart sink. I was just like, no, because that's like when you see something like that, you could never get that out of your head.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially at that age, I can't even think about seeing something like that.
And I feel so bad. And we've got Cammy at the grief group, and she says that her worst nightmare happened at work, and it brought back trauma. And she shares this call, and it's rough. And she says it brought her back to her husband choking, and she can't stop thinking of the wife's sister and the 17-year-old daughter. And she feels responsible because she didn't like double check the address, like she didn't enter it in independently and like confirm, and since it turned out to be the wrong address, she feels responsible. Really it wouldn't have made much of a difference. Yeah, like yes, every second counts in a matter like that, but we've got like neck wounds, we've got chest wounds, we've got like it was bad.
Yeah, it was pretty severe, and she was already pretty much swirling the drain by the time they even arrived on the street. So yes, being there a few minutes earlier might have helped, but it would have just prolonged her life for a few more minutes, maybe.
Yeah, like the minutes that counted were the minutes they were in transit, not really the minutes that they were at the wrong address. So yeah, it's like it wasn't her fault, but she does feel responsible to some degree, and she's thinking of going to the wake, and she thinks it's crazy, and Nick tells her it's not all that crazy. And love having Nick make an appearance again too. I'm like, oh, two people I want to see an appearance again back in this episode. Yay!
Awesome.
And Dixie shows up with luggage and a bag. Taylor thanks her for meeting her, and Dixie's like, it's the least I could do for the girl my son's shacking up with. And
not by choice.
Yeah, and Taylor's like,
you're the one that sent him to her,
right?
And it's like
I love when people bring that up, but then it's like, you were the reason. Why? Like, if you want to go there, like, it's your fault.
Exactly. And Taylor clocks her on it too. She's like, it's not shacking up. My roommate and I are keeping a roof over his head after you kicked him out. And Dixie's like, oh, cry me for girl.
I'm like, can you
just leave? And Dixie's like telling her about the insulin cartridges are in there and for him not to eat certain fruits. And Taylor calls her the fuck out, and I'm so glad because she's like, you don't get to do that. She's like, you don't get to do that. And she's like, do what? And Taylor's like, be his mom, but not even answer his calls. And Dixie's like, Blue made it clear what he wanted after choosing the Hearts over her. And she's like, it broke my heart. And I'm like, you are the mother. You are the responsible adult in this situation.
Exactly.
Even if Blue's an adult as well, you are the parent.
Right.
And Taylor's like, it doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. She asks what, and Dixie's like, well, what they get him anyway. And she finds out about the car, and she's like, they're buying his love. I'm like, you've manipulated his love this entire time. What do you mean?
Right.
This woman. And Taylor tells Dixie that Blue was crushed, that she didn't call him on his birthday, and that she would have that he would have traded that car to have gotten that call. And she says that if he was really that upset before Taylor left, yes, if he was that upset. And Taylor's like, you're not the only one who was heartbroken. Yeah. Not everything's about you.
Literally, because I'm just like sitting here watching this and I'm like, not everything is about you. This is so ridiculous. And I hate that there's actually people out there that are like this. It's just like, oh my God, I just can't.
This woman.
Well, yeah. And I'm like, I'm glad Taylor finally stood up. And I think it had to come from somebody, but it couldn't come from Blythe or Dawn, because it would just be, well, you're just trying to take my son. And I also am like, well, given that they were living together, he should have been on her insurance. And when he did that, he should have been like, his insurance should have stepped up. So has he been driving without insurance? And if not, then what's his mom doing about helping him get a new car? They were just helping him get a job, like getting a way to get to work. And it wasn't like they went out and bought him like a $50,000, $80,000 car. They went out and bought him basically what he had, just in a different color.
Yeah, because they knew he loved it. And they had, there's the thing is that they also had the resources to do that.
Yep.
And they use them. It's not like, they're breaking their own banks, or they are like, sure, was the birthday party kind of extravagant? Yeah. But like, that's not a bad thing.
Right.
Like, I might have my thoughts on how they portray like class and like the wealth in the series and all that, but I'm not about to be out here when there are so many like ridiculous things that influencers or like real billionaires do that are absolutely ridiculous for their children that aren't even old enough to appreciate it. I'm not about to bash this instance when they literally bought him a car. I do appreciate, I will say, because I was worried about this. I will say that I appreciate that even though I didn't love the whole shacking up bit, that Dixie didn't disrespect Taylor.
Yeah.
Like, she could have made some comments. She could have said things. But I actually like that they did not have a whole bashing Taylor or I'm happy they didn't go that route. Next up, we have a car driving into a fertility clinic. And the doctor is pinned. An older woman caused the accident. She seems confused. Like, she was like, I was pressing the brake, but it kept going faster. And it's like, I don't think we really learned whether it was a mechanical issue, if she got confused and was just hitting the gas instead, or we don't really learn anything about that. But she's just like, I don't know what happened. And we have liquid nitrogen in the air, so they have to evacuate, and everyone masks up. And then the alarm goes off, and the doctor is like, basically the temp for all the embryos is too high since the door is open. So I was just like, I didn't remember hearing that word. So I was just like,
oh no, I hear you. Because I had to look it up to even understand too.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, cool. I was like, is that a misspelling or am I stupid? Okay, so she tells them they need to get the embryos to a nearby clinic to save them. Otherwise, all the families that are in the waiting room are going to lose their embryos. And IVF is expensive, so don't want that. Not to mention, that their fucking family dreams are riding on this. And so her arm is frozen to this tank, and she tells them to amputate her arm, and she does it to save the
because they couldn't get past her to get to the thing because the car wasn't budging.
The engine was dead. Like, there was no getting off of her. It would have taken too long. And she made that decision so calmly too. Like, damn, girl.
She is Superwoman over here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And just her, them sawing off her arm with her just with no to my knowledge, no pain.
No payment.
No payments to what we've seen. I'm just like watching this, totally cringing in the sense of like, just like, oh my God,
Also,
I
like,
can't believe this
her
is happening.
her arm was kind of gone anyway. Like, it was in rough shape. I don't know if it would have been savable or not if they'd managed to get her out, but like it was in rough shape. It was frozen to the tank. It was not great. And so, oh goodness, the power of this woman. So they transfer the embryos, and they're trying to keep it cool with the CO2 in the back of the ambulance because they've got to keep it below 135.
Negative
Like
135.
negative 135. They're coasting in on 137.
Yeah, I was like, wow, cutting it close there, guys.
A little closer. And they transfer them just in time. And so we get Cammy and Blythe showing up to the wake. I love watching their like sisterhood. Cammy and Blythe, it's adorable. And when they get there, we have a whole altercation happen. The sister of the wife and the ex-husband are going at it. She accuses him of killing her sister, and he yells saying, he would never hurt her and that he loves her. And she invites them in and asks, when they got inside, they're like, "Oh, how did you know Vera?" And Cammy explains that she took the 911 call, and Cammy tells her, that won't let that mistake happen again. And sister tells her that, it doesn't help. And if she wants to help, she would tell the cops to get off their asses and bring Brian to justice. Brian being the ex-husband. And Cammy thinks they are looking into him. It's very fresh. And the sister says they're not, that he was actually totally eliminated. And Cammy wonders how. And she was told his phone records show him on road at the time of the incident. It's not a crime to give 911 the wrong address unless you can prove it was on purpose. And she's like, I know he did this. And even the daughter is saying, that she's right. He was never the same after the divorce. He was doing everything to stay around. And he was around doing stuff at the house at the time. And then the security cameras coincidentally went out an hour before the murder. Not great. And I'm over here nosy as fuck going, now I just want to know what caused the divorce. What the hell that was going on. Like, how did we wind up in this situation?
Right.
Cammy asks Nick to help. I love watching them work together again. And he's playing off, saying that he did nothing. And he's like, he didn't use his badge to get these files. And they looked at the ex-husband hard. They took a polygraph. And I didn't even read what you wrote next, Katie. Because I was about to go off on why do we keep bringing up polygraphs?
They're not admissible in court.
Yeah. It doesn't make a difference. Is it specifically admissible in Nashville court or something? Like, why do we keep bringing it up?
I know, because like to my knowledge, like I literally learned about this literally in like a psychology class about polygraphs and stuff like that, and like how they're not admissible and stuff like that, and that was like years ago. I'm just like, it literally frustrates me they keep bringing it up, and I feel like they just like the writers just think they're so smart for bringing this up, and I'm like, guys, if you did any length of research, you would learn that they're not even admissible, and you just sound so stupid putting it in.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating.
Yeah. Like, I just looked it up, and granted, it's kind of a by case thing a little bit, but generally inadmissible. It seems like specifically in New Mexico, there are specific instances where it might be allowed, or like if both parties agree to it, it might be allowed in some other cases. Regardless, none of the instances in which they've used it make any sense, and it's bullshit evidence anyway. So like, I love how I was about to go into a tangent about it anyway, and then I saw you wrote it out to begin with. Like, stop. So Cammy shows Nick some things, and we have the ex-wife trying to say something that starts with a bruh. And she thinks that she was trying to say Brian, and she thinks he spoofed his location because Brian is like some big tech guy at like NSA or something. Like, he knows technology.
Yeah.
And there's two frequencies on the call, and one's Vera, and they managed to separate the other out, and the other is a woman saying V let go. Interesting. And then Kimmy's like, wait, what if she wasn't saying Brian? Maybe she was saying Bree, because her sister's name is Aubrey, and the niece calls her Aunt Bree.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, wait.
Oh, they're putting down something new.
I was like, oh my god, it was a sister.
I liked that it went here because I feel like they always, which I understand, that's like how it goes. They always look into the ex-spouse or the spouse first. And I liked that we were going in a different direction. I don't know. It's just like I couldn't even buy like the whole ex-husband thing. 'Cause I was just like, seems so easy and like everyone's like against him. There's this altercation, all these things are happening. But like I wasn't necessarily suspicious of her, but now looking back at the whole thing and how accusatory she was, I'm like, oh, yep, I see it.
Yeah.
Definitely didn't see like the things she was gonna do after we get this realization on Cammy's part. But oh my god.
Yeah. Like I didn't ever really buy that it was the ex-husband. It felt like it was a deliberate setup to be like, oh, it looks like it's him, but it's not. But I was like, at first also, okay, at first I got the names mixed up and I thought they were saying it was the daughter for a split second. I was like, the daughter? And I was like, oh wait, sorry, it's a sister. Because I was like, that would have been a crazy move. Because now she has no parents if her dad goes to jail. Okay. Anyway,
Right.
I mean, not the first time we would have seen something like that. So Cammy says, you know, this is not about love, it's about money. And Nick's like, where are you going? And Cammy's like, I have to warn Olivia, the niece. And Olivia's getting a call, but like her phone's off to the side and her aunt's checking in on her. And she's saying, you know, that she's dizzy and her stomach's cramping. And apparently Auntie Bree crushed up the Xanax the doctor gave her to like help her like relax after everything and put it in the lasagna because she thought it would make the next part easier. And then she tries to set it up like a suicide. Yep. So she's opening up the veins on one wrist, which was really hard to watch. Yeah, and that's going to be a shitty scar to have to explain later to people. Like, oh no, that's not my history of self-harm. That is my aunt trying to murder. Apparently, she's saying that like all she wanted was a small loan and Vera refused. And she claims that Vera thought she was better than Bree. And she's like, tomorrow when they find you, your mom's fortune will be mine. And then the doorbell rings. And Bree's wondering who that could be. And she goes to the door and it's Jalen. And he's saying he can't make a welfare check because nobody answered. And they can't just kick in the door unless they have reason. And Cammy tells him that Olivia could be in danger. Yeah. And then we say her bang on the window with blood because it seems like she managed to get just enough of her body to get to the window.
Right.
And Jalen's like, oh, that's good enough.
He's like, oh, I have probable cause now. Yep, I'm in.
Yep. And he's like, okay, I'm going in. And Cammy's like, well, what's happening? And he says that he has eyes on Olivia, who is upstairs and is wounded. And at that time, Bree starts shooting through the door, and Jalen right around when he's trying to knock and kick it in, and he flees to his car, obviously, and is like, shots fired, send everyone you can. And fire shows up, and they stay behind the trucks, and they're not able to get a negotiator.
Can they get anything, honestly? Because they're like, oh, this is happening.
Essentially, there's an armed robbery happening across town, and everyone's tied up with that. I'm like, oh, right. And Cammy calls and tells Aubrey that the house is surrounded, and Aubrey's like, I can see that, thanks. Cammy's like, there is a way out, and Aubrey's like, what's that? And Cammy says, you know, you can surrender now and let them help Olivia. And Aubrey's like, Olivia's okay, but she won't be if you won't give them what they want. So I'm like, she's not okay. She is bleeding out upstairs.
Right.
What?
Not to mention probably the causes of the Xanax that she put in the lasagna that she then ingested.
Right.
Yeah, like the overdosing on top of it. Yeah, no. And she's like, she won't be if you don't give me what I want. And Cammy says, you know, she'll do her best, but SWAT's already on the way. And Aubrey wants to talk to a hostage negotiator and says anyone who walks through that door will get shot. And Cammy says they're working on getting one, but for now, she's here and trained in crisis intervention. And Aubrey says Cammy has no power and not to call her again until she has someone that does. And then she hangs up. Cammy tells Dawn that SWAT won't be there for an hour, and Dawn asks what the good news is. And Cammy says she doesn't know that SWAT is an hour out. And she was thinking they could give her a light show. And Don's saying, you know, he likes it. And Don tells Ryan and Roxy, get the Kevlar helmets. And Jalen's like, you can't go in without police. Don says, oh, don't worry, you're coming in. I'm just like, this poor man is getting dragged into this.
Poor Jalen.
And they can't get a negotiator. Two are wrapped up in the bank robbery, and the other is out with the flu, apparently. And Cammy tells and Nick tells Cammy that he can help. She calls Aubrey back and tells her she has a negotiator, and she patches him in. And they point lasers inside, and Aubrey freaks out about snipers and says, Cammy's like, I told you they would be here fast. So they're just fully, like, they are coasting by on a lie. Because Nick is not a hostage negotiator, nor is he trained as one. Not really. And there is definitely not SWAT outside. So they're just getting by. And Don's like, good job, 113. And Taylor's like, I crush it at laser tag. I can see that.
Good line. Yeah.
Aubrey tells Cammy to tell them to stand down, Brian all, and Cammy is like, PD, stand down! And it's a trick to get her to close the blinds. They get on the ladder to help Aubrey, and they go in. And my one thought during this was like, those ladders are really fucking noisy. Extending those ladders is really noisy, but that's the one thing I'll say about that. Move on. It's a damn show. And they get in to stabilize the girl and get out. But that's Don's plan. And they get her on the bed, and she needs blood and fluids. And of course, the girl wakes up and she hurls some pills, and it knocks a lamp over, which alerts Aubrey to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes up there. Jenna tells her to drop the weapon. She fires at him, which sends him back into wall. I was like, if they fucking yeah, I was like, don't you dare. And then Don knocks the gun out of her hand with a Halligan. It was a good move. Jalen's on the ground, and Don asks if he's okay, and he says she sucked the wind out of him, but thank God for the best. And Aubrey tells Don, he broke her arm, and Don's like, yeah, I should think so. And he's like, they're clear. Nice work, yeah. And then they have the dad show up, and I think we all like the direction it went in, like that the dad was able to be there for the girl, not that he was like the mastermind of all this.
Well, and I kind of feel bad for the girl too, because for so long their parents divorced. I'm sure her mom was also like, I don't know, not in the greatest of relationship with the dad, and then saying things, and then the aunt saying bad things about her dad. So just all this time she's been being told all this stuff that probably wasn't even true.
Like, I am wondering, see, like, there's not enough time for all these answers, but like, I am wondering, I'm like if Brian and Vera actually like had a bad relationship though, because like it seems like he came over, like he went over to help install a computer kind of thing, like like he was always around because he was still in love with her, but like she could have put a stop to that real fast. So I'm like, what was the whole dynamic there? Like, why'd they get divorced? What? Obviously we're getting no answers on that, and it doesn't even really matter, but like my mystery loving ass is just like, I want more details.
Yeah, I feel like, and also we were getting some of this tidbit of information from Bree's point of view, and I feel like they were just trying to throw us off to make us feel a certain way, which I was not buying any minute of.
Exactly. Like, I think they had said at some point, Bree insinuated at some point that Vera was talking to somebody, or that had a new boyfriend or something, trying to make it look like that's why Brian would have done it. All we get from Olivia is that like her dad was still really in love with her mom. Like, that's kind of what we really get from her, is what it is. But Olivia, well, first of all, they tell him that he can ride with her, and he says, it's up to Olivia. And Olivia's like, she's sorry, she didn't believe him, and he's like, all that matters is that she's safe. And Ryan's like, smart man. And Don says, good work. I'm glad at the end the daughter at least had her dad.
Yeah, for sure.
And Cammy gets an update from Sam, and Cammy's like, thanks, see you at brunch this Sunday. And Cammy's like, what a day. And asks everyone if they're leaving, and the one guy's like, waiting on you, girl.
I love that. Nick was so sweet.
Right? And Nick stops by for Cammy. Olivia's apparently going to make a full recovery, and Nick's like, it's crazy that they've solved a citywide hack and a homicide together. And Nick says the crazy part is they've only spent time together as a crime-fighting duo or in a grief group. And Cammy's like, it's true. And he asks her out to drinks and to celebrate, but she asks if he's asking her out on a date. Yay! They're finally going out!
Finally. Like, I've been shipping this since, like, we got the hacking.
Exactly.
Especially that scene, like, at the very end of it, I was just like, come on. Like, I'm waiting.
Yes. Oh gosh, that was so cute. Yeah. I'm happy they didn't like ship for longer than this. Like, at least get them started on like maybe going out and stuff. Anyway, I'm happy because definitely have shipped this. And then we get the final scene, and Taylor and Blue get home with groceries, and Dixie is there, and Jalen let her in. And he's like, should I not have? And Taylor's like, we'll talk later. He's like, I'm gonna go fold socks.
He's like,
which I thought was really funny. And Blue's like, what are you doing here? And she's like, I didn't want to miss your birthday. And Blue saying, his birthday was last week. And she hopes it's not too late to celebrate. Girl, you missed your own fucking child's birthday. What the hell? Anyway. And she wonders if he's ready to come home. I'm just like, girl, it's acting like he's out here on a vacation on his own.
Right.
Like, you're acting like you didn't kick him out. Anyway. And Blue, to his credit, says that he's not coming home. And Dixie's like, ever? And Blue says, definitely not today. And he tells her that he can't live like this anymore, and that he won't live like this. And she's going, like, what? And Blue's like, under the threat of conditional love. Can personally attest. That sucks. Where he's always worried she's going to cut him out if he doesn't do what she wants. And it just, it hurts too much. And Dixie says, it's true, and she has been guilty of it. You are the last person in the group to realize that, girl, but at least you'll acknowledge it. And she says, just know it hurt me too. I'm going to hold my thoughts on that particular line. And Blue tells Dixie to stop doing it. And Dixie's like, that's why she came here. And she tells him that she's going to stop. The last few days not talking to him has been killing her. And Blue says, me too. And she tells him she loves him more than anything in the world. She wants him in her life, even if they're not like under the same roof. And Blue says, he does too. And Dixie asks if they can move past this. And Blue says, of course they can. And I'm like, Blue, you are much more forgiving than I am. And Blue asks, he wonders what made her finally decide to come over. And Dixie says, Lord knows I can be stubborn, but I can listen to good sense. Especially when someone has guts to give it to her with both barrels. And Blue looks at Taylor like, what did you say? And Taylor's like, between the two of us. And Dixie says,
good on her.
Mm-hmm. And Dixie's like, you got yourself a keeper. And Dixie says, come on, let's make a wish. And Blue says, he doesn't need to. He's got everything right there. And I was like, no. You make a wish that she stays like this. So those are the episodes.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
Oh man, I did really like them, which was surprising. I don't know. The last two sets of episodes we talked about, I've liked for the most part, which is kind of weird to think about. And so obviously they had their problems, it's whatever, it is what it is. There's so many things that just happened in these episodes. So many things. I don't know. This does make me kind of interested to see what they do with the last two episodes. It's crazy to think there's only 2 episodes for each show after, I just have so many complicated feelings on the whole thing, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm mostly just excited to see the next kind of thing, which is Roxy going on a date with Lena. I think that's gonna be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mostly excited for that. If there's anything we have to look forward to, it's that. But I guess these ones weren't as wonky as some of the episodes, so I guess that plus.
Right.
But it's there's some things I'm just okay, what are they gonna do with Dixie? Because I'm just this up and whatever. And yeah, but they weren't too bad, I guess, is a good way to put it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I thought they were pretty decent, and I definitely am feeling a little more for Blue and the situation with Dixie, and I'm glad that Donna's kind of put his foot down with Dixie and being like, I don't want to be around you, I don't want you to call me. He's kind of let her dictate his life for a long time, including washing him out of her son's life or their son's life, and so I think he has every right to set his own boundaries. The calls were definitely interesting. It's funny, they did another type of Instagram live type video emergency call, but they're fun. They kind of adds in a different element, except this time we didn't see much of the comments or anything like that. But I also, even with that happened, I was like, you're freaking out about a situation that's happening, like an emergency, but wouldn't that be turned off before they start making treating this person? And or even when the crew got there, why didn't they turn it off? So I don't know if I'd want to have my emergency broadcast all over the world. I mean, I know the character, she was all excited when it kept going because she's like, oh my god, this is gonna be
it's really funny because none of these instances have they stopped the lives.
I know. I mean, at the
Yeah.
end, I remember Buck and Eddie going over, and you could kind of see some of the
Yeah.
comments as he's turning it off. But I was like,
Yeah.
Which were really funny.
I feel like they're more worried about taking care of the person than worrying about the live is probably
Yeah,
what it
that's
is.
true.
I don't know. I feel like it could go both ways.
Yeah, but then there's also like then you also have to think about like HIPAA and privacy
I was
laws
thinking
and
about
stuff
that
like
too,
that. Like
but I'm also
now I'm like, I don't
thinking
know how that would
I'm thinking about the
translate.
phone of their property. I don't know. Like it's just like
Mm.
it's a very tricky thing. Like I see it both ways is the
Yeah.
thing, and I'm just like it's very tricky.
I would have said like, hey, can I stop the live kind of thing? Like, hey, can I turn this off? You know, for privacy. Like, I don't know. I don't know how that'd be handled in the field, but I feel like it would not have been left to run. I don't know. But yeah, agree.
You know, I'm glad that Blues kind of stood up to his mom, and you know, even though he was forced out, I'm glad that he got his stuff back and he can kind of move on and set his own boundaries about what now that he's learning all this stuff about his mom. And I just it definitely doesn't have the spark for me that 911 does. So I don't really like. I'm not as invested, I guess, and it's so I'm not like, oh my god, we got to talk about every single thing. Like, I'm glad Katie's. I know some of the notes kind of get like condensed down, which is awesome because I feel like certain scenes like go together more so than they do separate. So I'm glad we kind of just talk about them like as a chunk. And I don't have a lot more to say. It's just
that's fine. I just want to make sure that you got your thoughts.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks. I was just like, I'm not uninvested, but I'm glad for some of the characters. I like Taylor and Blue. I think they're cute, and maybe we'll see something out of Cammy and what's his name?
Nick.
Yeah, like there's only like a few things I actually care about with this show. I care about Roxy's like love endeavors, and I actually do care about Cammy and Nick. And then like there's like a few other things that I'm like, oh, I kind of like this, but I'm not necessarily like, oh my god, I cannot wait to see what happens.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I fully agree that this set of episodes and this last set that we talked about have been probably the best of Nashville so far. I really enjoyed the last set. Did I have issues with them? Absolutely. But I enjoyed the last set, and I really did enjoy this set. Like, overall, I don't think my feelings on Nashville have really changed from anything we've said before, but I am liking where we're going. What I really liked about these episodes, and that's part of what I loved about the last episode, so clearly there's a theme, is how much we have gone into away from the Heart saga into all the other characters too. Like, I feel like we're really getting to know Roxy and Taylor, and I love them. And I really like that we're getting like a Roxy romance, maybe. Like, I'm like, ooh, like this girl's cute. Like, I really am looking forward to seeing something with that. And I love
Sam, her comment. Wait, you're texting with? She was so
you know what? I wasn't sure I was going to like it. I will eat my words. I think I do like Taylor, and I think it's largely because they finally gave Taylor a personality beyond being the pretty helper and love interest. Like, they have given her a personality and a spunk. And I like it. I feel like we finally got to know her, and therefore I'm like, okay, you know what? I can get behind this. So I do like them. I really do like Cammy and Nick. Like, I ship them. Absolutely here for it. I also like Ryan and Sam. And their story is a complicated one because I definitely think they should not be expecting a baby with all their problems that they've had going on. But also, it's like, okay, well, where are they going to go in this whole thing? Are they going to go the miscarriage route? Are they going to go like the successful but difficult pregnancy? Like, how are we going here? Like, please tell me this is not all just magically fixed. Like, where are we going with this? But I do like, out of the two, I especially like Sam. That's why I have any investment. I really like Sam.
Ryan, and I've seen people say this, that he's just such a bland person. I do agree with that.
I agree. And like, I will say, like, early on, I was like, you were like stealth MAGA vibes, which I'm not retracting necessarily, but I do kind of like how they portrayed him in recent episodes, for the most
Mhm.
part, I'm like, okay, like I like you more than I did before. Still definitely like Sam out of the two. I was just say like the women on the show are knocking it out of the park. Not you, Dixie, but otherwise, like, I like
The
the
rest of
women
you
on this.
superior.
It's like the thank you for being not you, the it's like that meme format. Oh gosh, what else? I think part of my enjoyment of this was how little they actually focused on like Blythe and Dawn these 2 episodes. And I say
Yeah.
that I do like Blythe. I still kind of want Dawn off Cliff. But that's a whole other matter. I liked that kind of the majority of their appearance though was them being supportive to their kids. And that was kind of it. Like Blythe was supporting Ryan. And I love that we got that because I feel like we actually haven't seen all that much of like their relationship. And I like that Blythe and Dawn were both supporting Blue, but like not forcing his hand. I liked that. Anyway, yeah. I like a lot about these episodes. Were there definitely things? Sure. And I think I'm struggling a little bit like where I think you kind of talked about this, Katie. Where are we ending up with Dixie? Like, because we have Blue back to talking to her and acting like things are fine, but she's at like a stalemate with all the rest. Like, we can't keep going back and forth for however many seasons the show gets. On like, is she good? Is she bad? Is she like, they'd be better off just to like kill her off and have to deal with the like grief of a complicated character. Like, not saying I necessarily want that, but it's like, what else are you gonna do with her?
Yeah, that did cross my mind and
Yes.
stuff.
Well, then I was wondering, now that her voice is back, are we going to get an end of the season where she's going to get an opportunity to go on tour? And so, just like in Lone Star after the first season, Liv Tyler didn't come back. Granted, I know COVID happened and she couldn't travel out of England and stuff, so I get that. So I'm wondering if Leanne Rimes' character is only going to last like the first season.
I had thought that because each series has had one character that didn't come back for the second season. Obviously, 9-1, it was Abby.
And
Lone
it tends
Star.
to be a well-known like actor or actress that doesn't come back.
That probably was like part of the pool for the first season to begin with, which was kind of what we had with, what was her name? Connie Britton for Abby.
Yeah.
And then we had Liv Tyler on Lone Star because, you know, both well-known actresses. And I think I am finally learning the names to these people. Is it Leanne who is Dixie or?
Yes.
Okay. See, I don't know who these are. I just know. So Leanne Rimes is a well-known like name. So I don't know. I wonder if that's gonna be what happens.
I could see them ending off with like her going on tour and like I could see that happening and her going on tour and then like that's what she's apparently doing when the show's on hiatus and then she comes back. Or it's just like, oh, she extended her tour and they mention it in the beginning of the next season. I don't know, but like I'm just like, how much of this, or are they gonna try and keep up the drama between Dixie and Blythe?
The only other like real use I see for her is like with her connections in Nashville. Is she going to get Taylor a gig of some kind? Like that's the like I don't know. I just think we can't keep doing this back and forth, and like I think it's just unacceptable if they have everyone like suddenly forgive her or rally around her or something like that. It's because like I watch like that scene where Blue like made that dinner for her and everything. It's just he was trying everything to try and make her not mad. And it was such an abused kid tactic that I've seen, and
I've seen it in so many scenarios and not just that. Like I've seen it in like the wife makes the husband the favorite dinner to like soften the blow of whatever news she has to say. I've seen it in so many different scenarios.
It's like textbook dealing with a narcissist kind of thing.
A little bit.
And so like I think that's where I struggled with that scene, especially, was just like, I don't know, it's like so much that she does is like high or low-key abusive shit, and like she is a terrible person and a terrible mother, and I'm just like, how long are we gonna let her like get away with this? So anyway, all of that being said, I could ramble for a while because I do actually have a lot of thoughts on like the dynamics, even with my different feelings on the show overall. But
Yeah.
I'll probably pretty much just end it there. I am interested to see what goes on in these next couple episodes. Like, how are we ending off the season? I am hoping we end off the season on like a high note, like these episodes have been, because I'm pretty sure we'll be reviewing season 2 unless we all band together and decide not to. But if we are going to, like, I'd like to go into it on a high note from the ending of the
Yeah,
season.
I guess a good way to put it is I'm feeling better about it than I did about the last bulk of episodes we talked about. Obviously, before this, I'm counting
Mhm.
like the past 3 episodes that we've talked about Nashville. I'm feeling better about these episodes than the ones we did before 9-1 came back, like this year and stuff,
The
like
second
after
half of the
the
season is
yeah, this the and like the A season, finishing up the A season with Nashville. Like
Mhm.
those episodes we finished,
Mhm.
I was like, oh my God, like I do
Right?
not want to watch another episode.
We were reluctantly trudging through them, like so much on that. We're just here to review it. We're just here,
Yeah.
like,
And
and
I
like
still have that
yeah,
mindset.
yeah. I think it's definitely like none of us are putting this as our favorite show by any means, and we're still
No.
just watching. We're still just watching this for reviewing purposes. But I think it's easier now.
Yeah.
I would tentatively say for all of us, like I think we all have different levels of how much we enjoy or don't enjoy it. I think we all fall on a slightly different scale, but I think it is universally easier because they have gotten better. B season is better.
Yeah.
So as
Oh
long as
yeah, for sure.
they
Yeah.
can keep it together for season finale, we can talk. We can have a very nuanced conversation. But yeah, I don't. There was one. Oh gosh, there was one thing I wanted to say. I don't remember what it was. Oh, it was super silly, but I do hope they keep bringing like Nick and Jalen back because I think
Yeah,
I think
for
they are
sure.
some of my enjoyment of these last few
Yeah,
episodes.
it's funny because like at first we didn't like have a police presence within the first, let's say the first half of the season. There
Mhm.
wasn't really police presence stuff. So I was like, oh, I guess they're just not diving into that. And I don't know if they're just like keeping this in there because they kind of have to have it in there like a little bit. But are we actually going to get to know Jalen like a little bit and put him
Yeah.
in the show more? Maybe that's like a focus that they'll go into maybe a little bit more in the next season. I am really hoping for a lot of things for like the Nick and Cammy stuff. I like that's like a different dynamic, so I do like it. And I'm also interested, I did look this up while we were talking because I couldn't remember it exactly. I know like he has 2 daughters, and then I was like, okay, wait, what? And they're in college. I did look that up because I was like, oh, so I'm like wondering if it's no, I don't think it's gonna happen this season, but like I'm wondering if in the next season we'll possibly meet them. I think it's interesting.
Oh yeah. I completely forgot she had kids. I
Okay.
completely forgot. Yeah.
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 I completely forgot. I will say, okay. I mean, because my brain is blanking, it's been a really long few weeks. They cast somebody as a detective for the second season, right?
Yeah, Ryan Felipe.
Yeah.
He was an actor pretty popular in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Let me just, yeah, okay. Right. So I'm
But
going to make a statement.
PG as for pre-Grace.
See, it's funny because I think
Yeah.
I watched him in
Yeah.
some show that didn't last very long,
Yeah, he's
like
been
a long while ago.
He was in Cruel Intentions and a couple other like teen dramas from the like late 90s, early 2000s that I watched as I was that age there.
Does anyone know off the top of their heads, like his ethnicity?
Not off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up.
Okay. Because like I looked at him and I'm like, he is white presenting, but there's like there's something in the face that I'm like South American, like with the name like Felipe, or is he what? So okay, I'm going to make a general statement. I'm going to make it very cautiously, but I don't know that I love them casting a separate person to be on the police side. We have less of a police presence in Nashville than we have had in Lone Star and 9-1 because we had Athena and we had Carlos. And what made Athena and Carlos work is that they are both characters color, and Athena is a black woman and Carlos was a gay Hispanic man. And I think that's how they make, especially a show that is very like generally more liberal leaning with its politics and socially. I think that's how they make it work. And that's why I'm concerned with this because with this character being a passing man, that they're bringing in for the police. I don't particularly love that. I think with all the issues that come with topics of peace, and I'm trying to state this very like delicately, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Like with the issues with police, with everything that's going on in the world right now, I would have preferred more of an emphasis on and a focus if we were going to bring police in more on like Jalen, who is a Black gay man, rather than having
Whitewashing
one
it with
exactly having one more white cop with the
Yeah.
systemic racism and the trauma to the LGBTQ community that the cops have caused. And like, yeah, I was being a little, I was dancing around a little bit, but you guys get what I mean.
But we even talked about it when the series was first cast, and we were all getting a little concerned as they were announcing all these Caucasian characters or actors, which are amazing actors and actresses.
Absolutely.
But I'm like, where are we going to get some people of color and some diversity?
Which I
don't even know if this character, how big of a role they're gonna have. In my mind, it's gonna have like the similar kind of idea of like when the detective storylines came up, and I think that's gonna be the similar idea.
Oh, like a Rick kind of character.
Yeah,
or like
a Rick. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm fine. I'm fine if that's what's going on.
I'm like,
I think I was
like,
under
where
the
is a
impression
detective from New York going to fit in a show like this, and why are we bringing this up? I feel like it's going to be for a specific reason.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, is I think I assumed he was taking a larger role because of like the announcement, but like we don't actually know what kind of role he's playing. So maybe he's showing up for the beginning of the season drama, or maybe he'll be a recurring character, or that's actually a really good point. So yeah, and I also think it is interesting. I will say, a little relieved that even as very white as many of these storylines are, and as a lot of the focused casts are, I am glad that the POC that they have are not just ornamental. Like we're getting those storylines, and we're getting a storyline with Roxy and like her going on a date with a woman. Like we are getting some diversity, and I was concerned about that. I will shut up because I have been going on and on. You guys are very patient. I just have a lot of feelings about these episodes.
Yeah. To touch on Ryan's character, Ryan Felipe, he actually, as the actor, he was in I Know What You Did Last Summer and Cruel Intentions. I can't remember which one I said. I don't remember if I said one of those. And most recently, he was in the Shooter TV series. He played the main character. So he's acted. So yeah, I actually kind of think, because I really don't feel like a detective is really necessary in a series like this for first responders, because detectives are only called in after the first responders secure the scene and figure out what's going on. So yeah, he's probably going to just be somebody that pops in every once in a while to work on a case. Maybe Jalen got a case but I really do like that we have Jalen, and I love that he's roommates with Taylor, and just that whole dynamic, and just seeing how that, because I was like, we haven't really had any roommate situations other than like Owen and TK living together, and then like Mateo moving in
a couple of times, but kind of like couch surfing on multiple different.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, he did couch surf a little bit, and I guess we didn't see it, but during like the COVID season, like they did have briefly, like I guess Hen and Chim and Eddie and Buck kind of migrated around Buck's apartment, so they weren't going home to their families. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see where they take the end of the season. And you're right, like we've dealt with the whole drama with Dixie, and I really don't see much else for her character, so I don't even know if she's going to be around next season, other than a brief mention and maybe a guest appearance in an episode or two.
Yeah. Also, the detective storyline is giving me the Lone Star with Sergeant O'Brien vibes, because that was an announcement that I believe, from what I remember, it was made, and then it was just like, okay, well, this guy is coming up, and then he came up again with that biker-esque storyline.
Yeah.
So those are the things I'm thinking of right now.
It also just occurred to me that a little bit, just going back to talking about Jalen, I was like, wait, who does Jalen remind me of, like in his role in Josh?
Oh
yeah,
he makes me think of Josh. And like, I love Josh. Hopefully Jalen shows up more,
right?
because we don't see Josh enough.
Yeah. I also really like some of the people that work at Dispatch. I think what's different is that they don't play as big of roles, but I do kind of like that they've sprinkled them in through the episodes a little bit.
And maybe they'll play more as well. Like, I think Stan's the only one I know the name of off the top of my head, but like, you know, I'm cool with that. Yeah, I am very relieved that in season, like the B half of the season, they expanded their focus into the other characters because otherwise this would have been insufferable.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think I'm realizing these past few episodes that we've really gotten to know the characters more,
Mhm.
other than the other ones, the ones that they like to focus on a lot, which I do appreciate.
I think that's made like the cheesiness and the soap opera-ness a little easier to swallow as well.
Yeah, it's felt like
A little
less
bit.
and less. Is it dramatic? I think I'm just getting used to it too. Like, because
Sure, we're
it is
conditioned.
it is dramatic, and it's just I'm realizing what this show is like. They never claim to be like diverse or anything like that. So I'm just like, I guess we just have to accept the
True.
show how it is. Like, can we have hopes? Absolutely, but like, I'm just I think I'm coming to terms of just what the show is going to be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do we have any more thoughts?
Nope.
No, not
We'll be
really.
back with 911 next week.
I'm excited.
Yay! What are we? Gosh, are we 3 episodes out then from like finishing the?
Oh
So
yeah.
okay,
So we've got
like
two.
from podcast wise.
Oh yeah. So we've got 2 more 911 episodes.
Mhm.
And then after that, we will go back to finish up Nashville, probably in an episode.
Yeah, and it's
Cool.
gonna be an interesting end because I think Dixie and Blythe are gonna have a cat fight in the next episode.
Oh no.
Because
You know what?
Not surprised.
I'm hoping.
like, I wasn't gonna talk about the promo, but I'll just read you guys the synopsis they have. So it says Alina and Roxy go on an awkward date. Meanwhile, Dixie
Oh,
drops a diss track about Blythe, sparking tension that leads to a huge fight between Blythe and Dawn. And to say I'm not surprised is an understatement.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let her where she is. This woman does not know how to stay out of messiness if it hit her over the head.
But I think she likes it. I think she likes
Yeah,
being the center of
I think she
attention.
thrives on drama.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be fun. Alrighty, and on that note, thank you guys so much for joining us and listening. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and check us out on YouTube. For more, visit 91ellisroundup.com and follow us on socials at 91ellisroundup. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And of course, come join us on our Discord. The link's down below and also on our website.
You guys can follow me, Katie, at For the Love of Charles on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads.
You guys can follow me, Grace, at Brendan Raffla 911 on Instagram and Threads.
You can follow me, EJ, at EJ8302 on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.